Welcome to the Wise Guys podcast, where we unleash the unthinkable and step over the line to help us see things differently, go to the inside edge, and stimulate new thinking. This is us. So, hi, I'm Mac. I'm your host. And, I say that every week. I say, hi, I'm Mac. I'm your host. But you know what? These guys right here, I just have to start this new year out by just saying I am so thankful that I got my co-hosts, I'm going to call them, tonight. I mean, we have had such a blast. We're almost to 1 year. And I just got to look at both of you guys and say, thanks, man. You guys are so cool. And I love doing this with you.
Same to you, more of it.
I mean, they're just as much a part of this as I am. So I don't want to make you think like, they're awesome. There's friendships that we have. I mean, it's just really,
You're changing my mindset, though, by saying this, because I think of you and I think, oh, Captain, my Captain. I think you're driving this bus and you're doing a great job.
I still think that way. This is my favorite time of the week.
I know.
Favorite part of the week.
I mean, we're so blessed by this whole thing. So, gang, we say this all the time, so I'm going to say this to you, Roger. Go find you some of your tribe of five, because it just doesn't get any better, man. It's so awesome. So
right,
we get to do this together. So so this week together, we are going to go into some a little bit more some deep spirituality, gang. I want you to strap in a little bit, but we've said this before. We want to play to your intelligence. We don't want to make it like we're thinking you don't have any. That's not what we're all about. So, we're going to come at you. We are. We're going to come at you, and we're going to try to just, whether we need to shake you or we just need to encourage you and pull you along or, whatever it is.
I love that about this podcast. We're calling forth from individuals that which we know already exists within them. That's it, somebody did it for us at some point.
Right.
And we're just paying it forward.
Exactly. This is us. This is maybe I think there's a movie or show.
There's a TV show.
There's a TV show, right? This is us. So, we're going to dive deep a little bit into the spirituality. Each of us is a mixture of complacent commitment to whatever you're committed to. A lot of times it's complacent and complex consciousness. And that's what we say about being a cocktail, right? Just beautiful cocktail. But it's time to pull out the recipe book and find out just what kind of exotic cocktail you are.
You are a collection of so many incredible ingredients, things things you have yet to discover. And that's what I love about what we're doing here is we're calling out those ingredients, the recipe that you didn't even know were there.
That's it.
Amazing. So since you mentioned cocktail, let me say hello to those, to you exotic cocktail out there. Let me say hello to you.
Absolutely.
That's you. Out there.
Yes.
Hello to you.
So keep that identity in mind, right? As
all
we greet
parts
you.
of you.
All right. So we're going to do a little two-part series this week. We haven't really done one of these before, but this is part one. We'll do part two next week. We'll kind of get into that a little bit more, but I want to set you up for next week.
Yep.
And then here's our words to the wise. How about this? This struck me this week, right? Because I think this is exactly what we're going to talk about in the episode. Here's the words of the wise. A gift is not a gift until it's given. What do you think about that? What do you think about that statement? True, not true, partially true, kind of true?
No, it's so true. So true.
Mm-hmm.
This was Bruce Lee, right? He's noted for saying this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Bruce Lee is noted for saying this. I was kind of researching this quote. I'm like, where'd this come from? And everywhere I looked, it was Bruce Lee. And the reason that for him, it reflects his philosophy about sharing knowledge and wisdom. If you know anything about Bruce Lee's story, he believes that something only gains true value when it's passed on or shared with others.
Well, okay.
So that's part of where this
Consider
came
this
from.
idea is a gift nothing until it is given. It doesn't even exist until it is given. It's just potentiality, but it has no substance.
Right.
Wow. Oh, just wrap your head around that a little bit out there. That it's only a potential until it manifests. Right. Oh, I love that.
And if you think about it, like this kind of thing, this kind of generosity creates bonds, right? It transforms relationships that you have, and it's beneficial for both parties. for the giver and the givee.
Why, yeah, and we're going to talk about the divine tonight, and just I don't know where you went with that when I said that word, all right? But we're gonna talk about it. But it's all about gifting. It's all about something that's freely given as a gift. Now we're going to talk about, well, how does it manifest? So
the question comes to mind with this idea that we're about to enter into: is a gift nothing unless it's given, but is it nothing until it is received? Does the gift have to be received for the completion of the energy, for the full manifestation and fruition of that gift?
Yes.
Or does it have to be received to have value?
Yes. I say yes.
I don't know. I think it has to be received to have value to the person you're giving it to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I can't control whether that person receives my gift or not. Okay, so the first part of that equation is my heart, my passion, my perspective in giving, and I think there's value in that.
So my generosity is a gift to me in of itself. Whether it hits a blank wall or an unwilling heart, it's still of great value.
But then it manifests when you accept it, for sure. I think that completes the circle, like you were saying. Absolutely.
So put this in the realm of God that we're talking about here. Is God is a gift to humanity, and it's a gift whether it is received or not. My belief system, my sharing of how God has changed my life may not have a receptive audience, but it's still a precious treasure.
It's still given. Yeah, I don't know. That's just where I would come from with that.
Sorry for the detour.
No, but I think that's really important. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, where you're bound by thinking, but the door's really not locked. We think it is, okay, but it's not, all right?
Right.
We can be released from it. So, this is coming from the Bible now. We're talking about divinity, all right? So we're going to start with some setup, if you want to call it that, of a couple of verses from the Bible. But again, I think these are universal, all right? We'll use these biblical examples, but I don't think that by any means that they're exclusive to Christianity, right? But again, this is why we do what we do. We're here to grow ourselves, and we're here to challenge. Because at the end of the day, guys, we got to fix some things out there. The world needs a bit of a higher consciousness and higher thinking and even more critical thinking. And so it's got to come from somewhere.
It comes from inside of you is where it comes from.
Yeah, we want to
That's where it
stimulate
is.
that, right?
Everything in this world was created twice.
Yeah.
Everything that's ever been on the planet has been created twice. First in mind, then in experience. And so when we say we have to fix something out there, it's clear indication we have to fix something inside here.
There it
in
is.
the mind, in the heart, in the spirit.
That's right. Yeah, so these guys, you're exactly right. We got to be right here, right? But then it flows. All right, and this is what we're talking about tonight, the flow. Right. So there's a couple of Bible verses, and I thought one of these was pretty interesting. I'm going to flesh it out just a little bit. If you read the Bible, or if you're a Christian, or even if you're not a Christian, you read the Bible, all right? That doesn't mean you can't. In the very beginning, as God is making everything, right? Whether the world, the animals, the plants, the sky, whatever. Here's what he says when he gets to this point in Genesis 1:26. Then God said, "Let us make humanity in our image, in our likeness." So that is how we are made, created. If you want to accept that, and again, I think there's other religions will go along with the concept of the divine birthing humanity, right?
Well, you got to play with that word "our" in there. That scripture brings up a question: our image, our likeness. Who is God talking to in this ourness?
Yeah, who's there?
Or is it just the various aspects of the
Father, Son, Holy Spirit?
Is he God as wise guys?
That's in my mind.
Okay.
I mean,
yes, if you follow that Christian
if you're,
perspective.
that's. I mean, I know there's other perspectives, but that's one.
Yeah, mine's that and more. And more. God as love, God as peace, God as joy, God as harmony, God as wisdom. We may be talking about these things tonight. It's all the different aspects of the one.
Right.
But it's God having a conversation with itself. Now, that may get a little too blasphemous for some people, but just consider that.
Maybe, yeah. I think it, but again, I think like what Stu said was, if we're really good at wanting to try to put stuff that it's hard to figure out about in some sort of sense of picture or describing or whatever. And I think the Trinity's a really good example as Christians would use it of a flow, a oneness that you have of the character.
Three in one.
Yeah. But here was another verse. And here's what I did. I really did never realize this as many times as I read the Bible. I put in image just as a search. And this verse came back, and I thought this was really interesting. So in Genesis 5:3, and now we're down the road a little bit. Genesis 5, right? People have been created, all this other good kind of stuff. It says this: when Adam, the first, quote, human being, right, if you read the Bible, all right, had lived 130 years, he had a son. What? He had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. Now, I thought that was a real interesting perspective, that when Adam has a son in his own image, what is that really, for the most part? It's human. It's a human. He had a human son. He was a human being. He had a human son.
There's cultures, a lot of cultures in Africa that sing a song, and the song of that child begins before the male and the female come together to create a child. There was an image of having a child before the child was born, and they are singing the song of that soul when they decide we're going to have children.
Yeah.
And then they sing that song through through the birth process, through the birthdays, through the celebration. That the song is image. So, imagination is, you got to go back to image as the root of that word.
Yeah.
Adam was thinking about a child and about what could be, what life could be through me, in partnership with my mate, long before Seth was ever born.
Oh, that's pretty.
Created first in mind and heart and soul and spirit, then in reality.
Wow,
that's amazing. You know what? You just had me realize
cool.
is I did this in my life. I didn't know it until you just described it. Like I've always, so my daughter's name is Sage, and she is aptly named, let me tell you. But
For sure.
that I had that name, and I had the vision of her when I was young.
Yeah.
Like, like high school. I mean, high school age, like teenager. Like I had, so I didn't realize that's what it is, Rev, what you're describing right there.
Cool?
I was, I was
sure glad that God downloaded the name Sage and not Bertha.
Hey, she would have been perfect if she
would
was.
have perfect Bertha.
Yeah. Jody might have had a little chance.
But are there seeds being planted? And we're walking this earth journey. Are there seeds being planted from the infinite, from the spiritual realm, the ethers and the cosmos?
Yeah, they're there.
That when we pay attention, there's foreshadowing and forewarning about all the good that's going to manifest on earth.
Well, the reason this struck me was because in the first verse in Genesis 1, you can kind of go, well, that was like God doing it, however you want to, couch all that. But I love the fact, as you both have been saying, but it's really for us right here, right now, the human race right now as we propagate. And it doesn't even, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a physical birthing of a natural child. Right? I mean, you have all of these images of birthing and a likeness and all of that. I mean, just take it wherever you want, but I thought it was really great that this doesn't have to be something ethereal that's out there.
Dreams,
God.
music, art was a thought in somebody's mind. That's a child of your mind.
There it is. That's a good example. It's certainly what Stu was describing as his daughter in this case, for sure. But it also can be...
Isn't another part
cool?
of this that is very cool?
Yeah.
And I'm remembering, isn't this another part of the verse where God says, "Let us make humans to be like us and represent"? That. Oh, is it before that?
Yeah.
And represent us so they can take care of the world and everything in it.
Yeah.
The
birds in the
how cool
ocean.
is that? I mean,
we have dominion over it. You can
Dominion's been misquoted. It means responsibility. It's not power
Not
over.
domination.
It is responsibility.
Right. Well, that's a little nugget right there, guys.
Right.
But let me tell you, what about this idea? You said the first scripture is all about God and the second one's all about Adam. What if it is all about God and God doing business at the point of Adam, at the point of his children, his wife, of the whole creative process? It's all God.
It's all God. Oh, I like that.
At the point of Godness within each person, each heart, each experience.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about tonight. I think
I'm
that's
trying
a
to
good
get
lead-in.
there.
That's a good lead-in. That's a good lead-in. Here we
Yeah,
go. All right. So, this whole idea about image and likeness and God indwelling. Now, again, we're going to we might kick a little bit a little bit against the goads here, which is a common Christian saying, maybe some Orthodox theology, but this is what we're trying to, introduce. All right. So why does this matter? I mean, okay, it's a story in Genesis. Yeah. And we move on, right? Okay. We're doing our thing, but you got to realize these truths. And here's what I mean by, truths. And this might be a little bit of a kick you in the teeth thing a little bit, but I'm going to play this little clip, right? I'm going to play this little clip. Here we go.
I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Well, here's my question to you, Roger. You think
awesome.
you're going to be able to handle this truth? This is our truth. I agree. Okay. And this is truth as we, I'm going to use the collective here. We have our own little way to look at stuff for sure. But in the collective, we're going to say to you directly, you are divine. Okay? Period. No, period. All right? There it is right there. Okay? You are. And so with that declaration of truth, you have these innate characteristics just like the divine does, but you have to cultivate them and acknowledge them to even express them. I think this gets back to what the Rev was saying, right? We have the image automatically. This is our divine nature. And we develop, in my opinion, the likeness. That likeness becomes more manifest as we grow in our spirituality. And the Bible would say, grow into the image of Christ consciousness, however we want to use it. So it's a journey. Okay.
And this is a pay it forward moment. Let me tell you, I look back at my life and the people that saw quality, saw divinity within me, saw goodness that I could not see for myself. And they did exactly what we're doing here. They called it out of me. I see in you which you have yet to discover. And so this is a pay it forward moment.
Yep.
I think we're obligated as Christed beings, as light beings, to absolutely pay those things forward that have benefited our lives. I want it for every Roger who is listening to this podcast to know that there is more of you, more than you've ever experienced, imagined, or known.
Right.
You were created in the image and after the likeness of goodness, of holiness, and perfection.
Well, hello. All right. And it matters. Okay.
It matters.
This is what we're saying too. It matters. Because when you embrace these attributes, you're going to enhance your spiritual vision. Because this is deep spirituality here, gang. All right. This is like deep deep session 5 series, whatever. This isn't 101. All right. So, you're going to see in a different way. You're going to see spiritually in a different way. Now, again, what does that mean? We don't have time in the podcast. I'm going to tell you it's true. Okay. You can contact us if you want to, but, the other question that came up for me as I was putting this together is with that, if all that's true, therefore, therefore, what's the therefore there? What's it there for? Does having this innate image, this divinity that exists there, does it come with some sort of spiritual responsibility? In other words, gee, what do I need to do with that? Maybe nothing? Can I just do nothing with it? Or do I have a responsibility in that?
Well, if you want to connect, if you want to stay connected or connect with God, then yes. And it's I don't even see it like as a responsibility or obligation. You're just going to do it. I mean, it's just to live a better life. It just comes naturally. You just are. You just are. You just are. Yeah. I mean, it's not. It doesn't have to sound like a job.
Okay.
Or like I got to go to school and do the homework and I mean, it's not to me. It's not like that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's moving the consciousness from I have to or I choose to even past I get to. I'm just being that which I am.
Right.
Just am.
And you have this inside of you already.
Right.
Now, whether you're activating it or not, that's up to you. It's there.
Right.
You can choose to ignore it or push it aside or kind of do it.
Yeah, stick your
I think
toe in
most
the
people.
water.
I think most people are doing that. They're kind of just sticking their toe in the water, and
Right.
And sometimes like, whoo, that's cold. Sometimes like, oh yeah, that feels good. Let me
Well,
get the whole body in there, And then there's some of us that just like you cannonball.
Oh gosh. I just had this vision in my mind, okay? Everybody's heading for the side of the pool because Stu just did a whoop. Okay.
Well, and it's really important. There are people that this idea can be misused. This is an idea and a truth that can be completely misused. Yeah, I'm jumping all in, and it's coming from the ego. I am divine. I am amazing. I'm magnificent. Well, the reality is you are special, just like everybody else. The truths that we are claiming for you are true about everybody in your life.
Right.
The good, the bad, and the ugly have that same spark of divinity within them. That same spark of goodness may be forgotten, but they plunge in. They do the cannonball into the deep end thinking it's all about me. No, it's all about us as cells within the body of the one energy that is God.
Yeah. Well, it's a little humility,
It's a shared
right?
divinity.
I'll tell you what, if you express that kind of joy, I mean, you're going to inspire people to do it with you.
Oh, I hear that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
They're going to be like, oh man, we always say, I want some of that. It's going to be like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
And it's like, you can do that.
Yes, you
Roger
can.
out there, that said, nah, that's not me. Yes, that is you.
Well,
you can
because
do
your
that.
character next, it's not that I just want a piece of that. I am that too. I feel that stirring within me because of the way you're behaving. I am that.
But this is going to mess with you a little bit out there, all right? Hopefully it does. So one of the characteristics, we're going to do 4 of them this week in this episode, and then we're going to do 4 more. And it's certainly not a closed list. This is 8 characteristics and attributes of the divine that we've come up with. But that doesn't mean that's 8. Those are the only
Of
ones.
the divine essence.
That's right. So
Right. Of God.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If that's where your thoughts go.
I agree.
Right. So can I talk about the first one?
Absolutely.
Because I
Let's
want to
do it.
talk about it.
Yeah.
It's called life. I mean, and there's you can go in a lot of you can go down a lot of paths in your mind when you think about life. You can talk about women are birth. Human beings, that's life. They're creating life. I mean, God created life, right? But women do this as well. Men participate in it, but that's part of it. And it, the life that is around you every day, I kind of feel like we are stewards of that life. So let me give you an example, right? So in my house, let's just call it, there may be bugs, spiders, what have you. Right. I've had snakes in the house for real. This is a true story. Right. So a lot of people, they just squash them, throw them away. That I do not. I will pick up a little ant. I will pick up a spider. I will pick a bug and put it outside. So like when
I spent 25 minutes one day trying to capture a stink bug that just didn't want to be captured so I could save his life.
Right, to take him outside. It was funny when the snake was in our house and I found it. My wife says, "You better not be putting that thing outside." I'm like, well, I am certainly not going to kill this snake.
Get in the car and take it 40 miles away.
And that's exactly what she said. She goes, take it somewhere else. But I mean, my point is that like I feel like we, everything that's here, it's an honor to be amongst it. And one of the things I learned when we lived in my family and I lived in Costa Rica for a year, is that the people in Costa Rica lived amongst nature, and not on top of it. A lot of us in the United States live on top of it. So I mean, I only say that because that's all part of life and the giving of life. And it's like, I can allow that bug to continue to have life. I don't know what kind of consciousness they have, maybe none, but it doesn't matter. I'm just like, in my mind,
all of
yeah,
life.
Right, exactly.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, that
It
all
goes
of
back to that scripture. It's not dominion over life. It is responsibility to be an integral player with
and
life.
respecting it. Absolutely.
Right.
No doubt about it. Well,
Right.
life. I mean, the divine is life. Okay, first of all, right? We have life, but at the same time, if we are life, like the divine is, then we will be life-giving. That our spirit, that our countenance, our actions, our words will help rejuvenate, will help give essence and life to things that I'm going to just say that are either dead or they're dormant. Things like our thinking. think we talk about that all the time, to raise in the consciousness, to get you to think differently. That's giving you life into it. We're birthing, we're blowing, like CPR, we're blowing life into it, right?
Is that part of the responsibility that we have as earth beings or spiritual beings, is to be life doulas?
Yeah.
We are charged with bringing life to where there is no life, where it is lost or forgotten. I get to be the one that's the source of remembrance.
Yes. And life it can take all sorts of different, a hug, a good word, just sitting with somebody in a situation, appreciating the greater scheme of life on the planet, like Stu's talking about, whether it's a sunset or a bug in your house or whatever it might be. It's an awareness level. We're trying to kickstart you a little bit here on, because you are life. You
For sure.
are life, right?
And let Coach Stu come into the room for a moment.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Being healthy, exercise, eating, nutrition, that's giving yourself life. I mean,
Exactly.
it's allowing you to regenerate cells, which are life inside of you, right? So, I mean, all of that's important.
Totally.
It's an awareness that's body, mind, spirit. It's all life in its many forms and iterations. And so, every cell within your body, every cell within humanity, every cell within creation, I am bringing life to it, light to it, and love to it. Those are the three names I have for God. I don't use the word God a lot. I use life, love, and light. And I like to say that's exactly what we are. So God is happening as love, as life, at the point of us, every single one of us.
Well, that's a great place to kind of pause a little bit right here, all right? Because that is exactly what we're trying to convey in these episodes. I'm going to say now the plurals. So let us take a break a little bit. We'll be right back in a few minutes, and we'll keep going on into attributes of the divine, which is us. We'll be right back.
Like what you hear so far? Join us in the Rogue Nation by going to our website, gorogue.life, where you will find links to our social media and podcast channels and a way to subscribe to all our happenings. We encourage you to become a member of our cafe, where you can interact with us and fellow roguers and keep the conversation going. Please share us and like us. Now, let's get back to our Wise Guys.
So welcome back to the Wise Guys podcast, where in this episode we are talking about our attributes that are exactly like we are divine. We have the same characteristics and qualities and essence as the divine does, because that's the way we're created. And so we talked about why this matters and where it might come from as an example from the Bible, and then how one of those characteristics is life and how we are life. But there's more.
There's always more.
Yeah.
From the Baha'i tradition, they say that there's this great unknowable essence. That's what they call God, the unknowable essence. But we can know God through these attributes,
yes,
which is exactly what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And let's take the word love, for instance. Love is often construed as a verb, as an action. I'd like to say love is just a noun. And so what if God, as love, is a noun and not a verb? So I'm not experiencing God. I said this a couple episodes back. God is not loving. God is love itself. Yeah. And so at the point of us, is God expressed when we have an awareness, a view, a sight, a hearing that love is happening. That is the direct experience of God. That may be unknowable as a verb. I'm doing loving things because I want to know God. I'm experiencing love at the point of me. I'm having the direct download of God when I am expressing myself verbally as love, when I'm thinking love, when I'm demonstrating love, when I witness love. Two people doing something kind for each other, that's love in action. That is the direct experience of God itself, which brings God from way out here and puts God right here.
Sure, because that's us, right? It's a beautiful example of that. And that, here's the thing, you might be sitting out there right now, because I think I've been there before. Well, wait a minute, I'm not sure how that works. I mean, if it's true and it's here and I am love, what does that mean for me now? I mean, okay, I'll buy into that idea, but do I have something I got to do? Do I have to unfold something? Do I have to go through a checklist? What do I got to do?
Well, it starts for me for paying attention. I'm just paying
Awareness.
attention to what I'm paying attention to.
It's an
Am I
awareness.
looking for things to be angry about, or am I looking for evidence of God as love in my life? I'll say at this table,
There we
you
go.
know, I've listened to you guys talk to each other. You guys, your friendship is deep.
Yeah.
And the way you've talked to each other, I've had the direct experience of God in the way you've treated each other as brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I want. I have that in my life with a whole bunch of people in my congregation.
Sure.
And I have it with people that drive me nuts, too. I have to dig to a deeper part of myself by listening not only more deeply out here, but more deeply within my own heart, to look past the surface to where love exists.
Yes.
Well, we all are the expression of love, and there's a lot of ways to look at that. Here's one way to look at that: is this: if it matters to you, it matters to me. That's love, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I may not believe in what matters to you. I may not necessarily care about it, but if I choose to say that and feel that and express that to you and show that to you,
right.
that it matters to you, so it matters to me. Think about this in relationships. If you were to
Sure.
do that,
Oh, absolutely.
that is the ultimate expression of love right there to me.
Well, and love has got 10,000 roots going everywhere. It's
Sure.
compassion,
Sure.
it's kindness, it's caring, it's generosity. It's all these things that how to get there is cultivate it.
There it is.
Make a decision every morning. I'm going to do one more kind thing than I did yesterday.
Right.
I'm going to be a little bit more compassionate or understanding with that person who drives me nuts because it matters to them.
Well, and then it becomes like Stu will say all the time, then you just are that.
You just are
know?
it, yeah.
Then you just become it, you know? But as I'm thinking about this concept of love, I can't get off this topic or I can't leave this discussion without talking about the energy of love as well. That, you know, there is an absolute palpable energy that comes with being love. And that's one of those, Stu was saying at the beginning, that I want to be some of that. You know, I don't know, it's winsome
Let me jump
to me.
in that pool.
Yeah, that's right. It's winsome.
Well, you know, and I get a little mathematical here. If God equals energy and energy equals, or God equals love and love equals energy, then God is energy.
That's right.
Not
Right.
this personality,
Right.
not this entity separate. It's the energy of love. And again, back to the direct experience.
There it is. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of examples of love, but we're not talking about give this person a gift, do this, do that, do that. And those are all good things. But it's way more about cultivating this innate divinity of love that you are love, not not that you are giving love. Not that that's
I have
not-
seen people walk into a dark room, a difficult room, an argumentative room, and single-handedly, without offering any gifts other than their presence and their being and their vibration of love, change that room.
Let's see, there it is.
Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
cultivate that.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the Christ did. That's what
the great
Jesus
word.
did. And Jesus said we had that same power within us, and we have that. Every roger listening has that same power to
Yeah.
transform condition and circumstance.
You do. You do. You might not believe
And I'm
it,
going to say
but
you've
you do.
witnessed it too.
Yeah.
You may not acknowledge it, but you have witnessed it.
Yes.
I like to say, if you spot it, you've got it.
There you go. Yeah.
So, you know, this is just life, love, and
Pursuit of happiness.
Life, love, and,
and
wisdom.
wisdom. Is
So here's the secret, guys. Here's the secret, Rev and Mac.
Uh-oh, the secret. I got to get my pen out. All
The
right,
secret
here we go.
about wisdom.
Yep.
Everyone has this. That's the secret. Everybody.
very wise.
It's inside
That's very wise.
of everybody. You out there may not say to yourself, I am wise, or other people may not say that you are wise, but guess what? It's in you.
Yes.
It is in you. And
It
it's,
is.
It's a matter of you cultivating it, finding ways for it to come out and express itself if you just would allow it to happen. And the way you do this is trusting, I'm going to say trusting yourself, or to me, it's more about trusting God because God's working through you. So it's more about that kind of a
Sure.
trust
No, I agree.
and
yeah.
developing that kind of spirituality where this wisdom just exudes it from you.
It's undeniable.
I'm really curious how many people listening has ever had that moment where you knew that you knew that you knew that you knew something, and you had no idea why you knew it, but you knew it.
And you were convicted of it. I mean,
You
it
were
was
convicted.
good.
There was nobody's going to challenge this because this is
Right.
my truth.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe you can't handle the truth. I don't know. Right?
I think that's why a lot of people shut down their innate wisdom, because I can't handle. Oh man, I'm more bigger than I ever thought I could be.
There it
There's
is.
more God happening at the point of me than I ever gave myself permission to feel.
Well, the minute we're the wise guys, right? This is what we, this is what we try to become more of, and hopefully help you to become more of. And it's in our bones. It's just in what we really believe matters and makes a difference. You can end up with poise. Your spirituality will become more poised. You're not going to get flustered. You're not going to get blown with the wind all over the place, right? By anybody, number one, challenging you or you challenging you. With those little voices. I'm not saying that you don't need to develop and you don't need to, evolve. But we can tell ourselves all kinds of cool little stories that get us all bent out of shape.
The Buddhists say that our comparison is a state of argument. And so many of us on this planet are considering this comparison game of, well, they're smart and I'm not smart, or they're wise and I'm not smart. And that's creating a sense of suffering. It's tearing the entire planet down. Yeah. If I see that wisdom in you, I have to have it or I would not be able to recognize it.
Well, you're speaking to oneness.
It says, the scripture that you read at the beginning, we were created in the image and after the likeness of God.
Yeah.
Of wisdom itself. When I have that epiphany, that revelation, and that light bulb moment, that is the direct experience of God that chose to reveal itself through your thought, not somebody else's.
Yeah, well, you're going to see it more and more. You will see it in yourself. Others will see it in you. And there's going to be this sense that's going to come upon you that you're doing the right thing. You're developing so that you can express these godly attributes into the world to make a difference. Because believe me, we need more wisdom in the world, don't we?
So we sure do. And so a piece of, I was going to call it homework, but I didn't really want it to be that, but I guess we'll call it homework. All right. Is to not ignore these thoughts or these feelings, because it's not always just thoughts.
True.
Sometimes it's a feeling. Like Rev earlier was talking about the energy when you walk in a room. I mean, sometimes it is a feeling. And I'll just ask you out there, Roger, to not forget, not to ignore that.
Right.
Like to pay attention to it. You may not know what it means, and that's okay. Right. But pay attention to it and see what happens.
Trust it too.
And you can ask questions, right? You can say, "Hey, what is this? I don't get it. I'm feeling it. I don't get it. What is it?" Trust me, you will get answers
if you ask.
And that means you're going to have to suspend anything and any idea on any teaching you ever got that said God cannot speak directly to you. I'm standing at the door knocking at your mind, Stu and Coach and Mac. I'm standing at the door of your mind, your soul, and your heart. And we're told, oh, no, you have to go to the authority. No, the authority is within you.
You got to cultivate it so that you can trust it. I mean, it's just, we want to question it. We always want to say, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Stop that shit, okay? Just stop it, all right? You're going to know that you know, as we've always been talking about right here. So cultivate it, press into it, see what happens. Ride the roller coaster, because that's kind of what it's going to be a bit of, right? But believe me, what a great journey. But it's also going to you're going to have to use your mind in this thing.
Yeah. Well, one is an internal process, the other is an external. So we have intelligence as one of those four attributes of God.
Right.
And so again, I'm going to go back to the idea that as we know it for ourselves, if it's ego-based, I'm wise, I'm all-powerful, I'm all-knowing, Oz. No, that doesn't work. There's the intelligence in the universe, God expressing as ideas you haven't thought of.
Right.
Somebody else is going to say something. Somebody else is going to write something. You're going to go, intelligence says, I need to recognize the light bulb they're having. I need to recognize the revelation they're having as well as mine. Yeah. And that's what intelligence does. It opens up the field through which God can be discerned, through which God can be learned and known greater. We're in this together, but I'm only one cell, and I love that scripture where Paul is telling us the hand cannot say to the foot, I don't need you. Intelligence and wisdom are sisters. They are partners. It is what's coming through me and what's coming through you two guys.
Right.
And through every roger that's out there listening to this. I want to be paying attention to how God is doing business as you.
Well, and it's not isolated. This is a great point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
for sure.
And sometimes that means being able to hold my own wisdom lightly, loosely, because, a new truth just came through. I want to be open and receptive. That's what intelligent people do.
That's right.
Closed-minded people are dumb. They said, no, I've got the corner on the market of truth. I don't listen to God anymore.
Well,
Well,
if
God's speaking through everybody.
I think it's healthy to question,
Yes.
to ask questions, to question ideas and truths that are out
Yep.
there. But from this perspective, to be more interested than interesting. Right?
Yeah, because then it isn't about you.
Right. It's about me just wanting to understand. Wow. Like if you say this, that's interesting. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Not inserting anything else but that, and then see what happens.
Well, I would say yes. And if you're in an environment, listen to me now. If you are in an environment, I'm pointing at you. If you're watching the video, okay, I shouldn't. People don't like me. I'm going to point at you, okay?
Now he's punching you.
If you are in an environment, and I'm going to say, without a doubt, into a spiritual environment where you are being asked to check your brain at the door and to just blindly walk in and believe and adhere to and follow whatever it is you're hearing, okay? We're going to challenge you on that you shouldn't leave your brain at the door because you are created with an intelligence that the divine gave you. You need to apply it.
Any
What Stu was
environment.
talking about.
Any environment that is causing you or asking you or telling you have to shut down your intelligence and your wisdom is asking you to shut down God doing business at the point of view.
That's right.
I was there when I was young.
Yeah, of
I
course.
was in that space.
Yeah, that's right. You tell this story all the time.
I was there.
So,
And I'm glad I'm out of there.
well, these are just beautiful characteristics, and there's just four, right? They're just four: life, love, wisdom, intelligence. Again, you are these things, and we're going to talk about four more of them in the next episode that will be also as not more important than one than the other by any means. They're all flowing in a circle anyway. And at the same time, we're going to have to challenge you like we've been doing and like we always do, right? We got to challenge. We just did an episode on this, but we want to challenge you in it that, let's see.
You want the truth.
Jack Nicholson is still in the back
We're
room.
going to challenge you on that one too. Let's see. All right. So here we go. All right.
Sometimes wisdom and love and intelligence come through silence.
Oh, well. All right. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. So your ongoing mission, should you choose to accept it, as we've always said, and we said last week, go listen to our episode from last week, at which we really climbed into these things, but it doesn't mean that we're going to stop encouraging you in it. Decide to go rogue. You got to go out there different than everybody else, right? Find like-minded roguers.
There you go.
These are my guys.
They're right
here,
around
man.
you.
Okay, they're all around you. I guarantee you they're out there, right? Just find some people that want to take the red pill instead of the blue pill, all right? Then you need to strap on the armor, right? We talked about this last week, that you got to prepare yourself. You've got to ground yourself in the truth, okay? Hopefully you can handle it, all right? Then you got to just storm the gates. And when we talk about that is you got to be willing in your own mind, first of all, to debunk a lot of the stuff that holds you back, right? You're stinking thinking. We talk about that all the time. You got to storm those gates, and you got to blow them open. And then lastly, when you do that, you're going to unleash the unthinkable. And these are the mission that we love for you to go on. We try to go on them all the time, but it'll make a difference in your life too. So there we are, guys. The divinity within us. I love it. I love I just look in the eyes of these two guys beside me, and I see the divine. It's so cool. All right. So thank you. Thank you for listening. We're going to challenge you. We're going to continue to keep challenging because that's what we care. We care. We think it's going to make a difference.
do.
So come back next week. We'll finish this up. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.